Hello everyone, let's dive into Lab 4. What I'd like you to do, if you haven't done so already, is open up the instructional materials in Lab 4 and make sure that you have done the reading ahead of time and then downloaded the data set. So I'm going to do that right now. You need to save this on your computer as a .csv file. So I'm going to open it up and I'm going to save it in my documents folder. You can save it wherever makes sense to you. And that is done. It's going to ask me all these, are you sure? Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Okay, so also make sure to download the lab instructions. So I'm going to open those up now. And this will lead you through everything that I'm going to do right now. So you might want to have these printed out or somewhere on your computer where you can take a look as we're moving along. And like I said, if you can do the lab as you're watching this video, I think it's a great idea. But at any rate, here we go. So our lab scenario this time is this. A social psychologist was interested in examining ratings and time spent looking at online dating site profiles. So she recruited participants to examine male and female online dating profile pictures with 3 different poses. So one that was front, one with the head tilted to the right, and one with the head tilted to the left. And participants were asked to rate the favorability of the image on a scale that ranged from 0 to 7. So 7 would be a high score, like, yes, I like this person, and 0 would be no thank you. So somewhere between 0 and 7. And do you think there'd be a difference? Do you think it matters which side you put your head? I don't know. Anyway, so additionally, the time that people spent looking at the profile was also recorded. And so participants gave us, as usual, demographic information, including identified gender and age. All right, so let's take a look and see what you need to do for this lab. There are 3 basic parts. We're going to prepare the data, we're going to analyze the data, and then for credit, you're going to complete the lab worksheet and submit your output. So it's very similar to last week. So first thing it says to do, download the CSV file from Canvas, which we just did. And the next step is to upload the CSV file to JASP. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And from here, I'm going to minimize the directions, but I have them right here in front of me as well. All right, so I'm going to take JASP for a spin. I always feel kind of excited when I do that. I'm going to go to Computer, and I'm going to go to my Documents, and I'm going to hit Lab 4 Dating Profiles and hit Open. So as always, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check to make sure that JASP categorized my variables correctly. So this is participant gender here, and that is a nominal variable. Age is a scale variable, meaning it's continuous. It's on a number line. You can be 55 and a half years old, for example, which I actually am, but whatever. Profile pic. So this is whether they were front to the left or to the right, and JASP thinks that this is ordinal, but it's not. It's actually just strictly categories with no order, so I'm going to change that to nominal. And it has the gender of the profile picture as nominal as well. And then the favorability rating is actually on a scale, so I'm going to make that a scale variable. And then the time that was spent looking at the pictures was also a scale variable. So that is the very first thing that we needed to do. Now we're going to do something new this week, which is when I'm looking at this data set, I have gender, and in this case, all that was asked for in the survey was male or female. And I see 1 and 2, but I really, if I'm looking at the data, it's hard to remember which is which. But I have, and you have on your directions, a guide to what these codes mean. So I'm going to show you how you can change it so that you can have actual words in here as opposed to numbers. So you know how when we're changing the variable type, we're clicking on the icon. We're not going to do that. We're going to click on the actual name, and it's going to say, okay, give it a label. So I'm going to do that. The first one, the code of 1 is male, according to my spreadsheet here, and the code of 2 is female. Now, whenever I'm doing this, by the way, I need to hit enter or else it doesn't record the very last one. So you always have to hit enter. Now, to close out of this, I'm just going to hit this X. All right. So for profile pic, I'm going to, again, I'm not hitting the icon, but I'm going to hit the name. And I'm going to put, first one was frontal according to our directions. The second one was left tilt. I'm just going to put left. And the third one was right. Okay. Ooh, I have to hit enter, don't I? There you go. And then I'm going to close out. All right. And there's one more, which is the profile of the gender of the profile picture. So I'm going to just also use the same codes that we used for gender in the other, male, and I'm going to hit return and then female. And I'm just going to show you, look what happens if I don't hit return and I close out. I've got all these males and a bunch of twos. So in order for it to register, it actually you have to hit return. So now that I'm a female, I'll hit return. Oop, did that work? I hope so. And let's take a look and see. Yep, now the word female is there. All right. So we've done this next step on our directions, and now we're ready to start analyzing the data. And so what we're going to do is first we're going to do what we've done before. We're going to get our descriptive statistics. And so I'm going to first go to descriptives, and it says to check the box for frequency tables. So I will do that. Then it says to move all the nominal variables to the variable box. Well, that makes sense because we do frequency tables with nominal variables. So I'm going to put participant gender, profile pic, and gender over. All right, but I have to do one more thing because this is a nominal variable. I can't do a mean, a median. I can't do standard deviation on any of these things. So I have to go down to the default setting on statistics, and I have to actually uncheck everything. It's kind of a pain, but you have to do it. There you go. And what that leaves us with is a good, clean frequency table for gender, for profile pic, and for profile gender. So I'm going to click back out, and remember that to start the next descriptive statistic, I don't want to start moving anything over. I just want to come back up and click on descriptives again, and that way it retains everything that I've done before. All right, so let me look and see what's on our next. I've got my paper here. So this says to select the scale variables and move them to the variables box, which is everything with a ruler is a scale variable. I'm going to click on them and move them over. And now this time I'm going to ask you to do one additional thing, and that is scroll down to the statistics box, scroll down a little bit more, and you see where it's going to tell us the mean, the minimum, the maximum standard deviation. I want you to add variance to it. Since we're talking about variance this week, why not? Why not add it in? Okay, so we've done that, and now when I close out, I have the descriptive statistics for all of my scale variables, including the variance, standard deviation, and mean, which are things that we're really wanting to know more about. So I'm going to close this. Now, let me see what's next. It says the next 6 analyses, we're going to do 6, are going to compare mean, range, variance, and standard deviation for several variables. So you're going to need these values when you do the worksheet for this class or for this lab. Okay, so the first direction says, so I'm going to start a new descriptives. The first direction says to move participant gender over to the split box. Okay, if you will recall, that means we're going to split out some variable by gender. So I'm going to move the favorable to the variables box. Okay, and I'm going to select the statistics arrow again down here. And I'm now going to select variance again. I'm just going to do this every single time, so keep that in mind. And so as I look over, let's see what we have. Now we have the favorability rating split out by males and females. Okay, that's interesting. Let me come back here. Now I'm going to go back up and start another descriptive. And this time I'm going to move profile pic to the split box. And I'm going to move favorable to the variables box. Okay, so I'm also again doing what I'm doing every single time. I'm going to come to statistics. I'm going to select variance. All right, and I have everything I need here for that. All right, so for the next one, remember we're doing 6 of these split out types of things. Well, first of all, let's go back and see what we found with this. So basically, this gives the favorability ratings for the front view, for the left. Wait, I don't know which way is left when you're looking at this video. Let me guess. I think that's left. I think that's right. Anyway, so what does it look like? Which one looks like is the most favorable? So we look at the means to evaluate this. So frontal has 1.875, left has 2.7929, and right has 4.396. Wow, that seems like a lot more. We won't know if it's statistically significant until later in the semester, but boy, that does seem like a lot more. So look to the right, I guess. Okay, I'm going to close this for a second. So we just did favorability by the profile pick, and now we're going to do the next one, which says to move the pro gender, so the profile gender, oops, not to that one, to the split box, and move favorable to the favorable box, which I just did. And I'm going to come on down here and I'm going to look at the statistics and add variance. Okay. So this is looking at the gender of the profile picture and the favorability ratings there too. So that's some interesting information as well. All right, for the next one, we're asked to go to descriptives. And we're going to move participant gender to the split box. So this is what gender the participants were. We're going to move time to the variable box. Okay. And we're going to come down and select variance. Okay. So we have another set of statistics to analyze. So we have 2 more. Ready? This one. We're going to move profile pick to the split box. So this is the profile picture, and we're going to move time to the variable box. Okay, I'm going to have you look at this and just illustrate something. This is part of the reason why we went through and put data labels. If this just had 1, 2, and 3, this table would be a little harder to read. You'd have to look at your paper and see. But since we did the data labels, it kind of makes it easier for us. So this is the amount of time that was spent looking at somebody front on, left on, or right. So which one had the longest look? Well, it looks like right had the longest look again, didn't it? Interesting. Okay, for the last one we're going to do another descriptive. And we're going to move pro gender, the profile gender, to the split box. And this time we're going to move time to the variables box. And I'm going to come down and, as always, click on variance. And I'm now just thinking, did I click on variance the last time? If I didn't, just know that you do need to do that for each time. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, I don't know. All right. So we are now done with our JASP output. And this is what you're going to do is obviously save this and submit it. I'm going to remind you of a couple different ways to do this. So I think the easiest way might be just to hit the results arrow, hit copy, and then pull up a Word document. And paste in the results. Save it and upload it. And if you don't want to do that, or if you can't do that, then what you can do is come to the 3 lines at the top and go to export your results. And I'm going to put mine in my documents folder. It's going to save it as an HTML file, and that's perfectly fine. You can upload an HTML file onto Canvas. So think about what we've just done. Take some time to look at the different tables and consider what information they're actually giving us, okay? And then when you're ready, come and complete the lab worksheets. All right, good luck, and bring any questions you have to the Hallway Conversations Forum.